it's fine.
All right. Stuff doesn't matter. We're gonna leash.
So like in this lane, I mostly push because you just told me to like queue the wave. Normally, I just would never push this lane and basically just wait for Nautilus to hook, and then I would trap.
Yeah, okay.
Basically my entire like game plan.
All right. So, okay. Well, when you look at this 2v2, what are you thinking right off the bat? Like, what are you thinking about this matchup when you're coming into the game?
Nami's just gonna heal if we trade, so we shouldn't trade. And if we hit a hook, I can hit a trap, and they just die instantly. That's how I see it, basically.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but I mean when it comes down to the wave state and like I guess level 1 to level 2, do you know like what are you thinking about level 2? Like the level 2, do you think you'll win the push? Do you think you won't ever win the push? Like what are you thinking about like the wave state in this lane? What do you want to be doing with the wave?
Well, if we just push without fighting, then they'll definitely outpush us, I think.
If you just push without fighting,
they can just zone us.
Okay, well the level 1 push you should definitely win because you have a Q for AoE clear. You don't want to be trading because if you try to hit either of these two, you just get hit by a Nami W and she wins that, right? But you have the pressure from Nautilus where if he does get a hook, obviously you guys do win that trade because in all in you'll definitely win, right? Like as you said. So coming to this lane, we should be wanting to shove this right away because we want to hit level 2 before them. If you can hit level 2 before them, you win. If you don't hit level 2 before them, you're going to get zoned really hard for a bit. You're going to hit level 2, and then you're not going to be able to use your level 2 power spike because they're just going to be ranged sitting behind their minions, and the wave's going to be over here, right? And they're just going to have a wave to sit behind, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
So that's actually what happens because I actually said to push this level 1. You should be trying to get level 2 because you definitely win this because you have the Q. Bane has single target. Nami's got single target. You also have a relic shield. You'll definitely beat them on the early push, and you should because you want the lane to be caught like right here, and you want to hit level 2 and then just be able to zone them. And even if you don't get a kill off that, that's fine because if they hit level 2 first, you have to back up. If you hit level 2 first, they don't necessarily like have to fully back up. Depending on how the wave is, obviously if you thin it enough, and they should back up, but depending on just how the wave looks, they might not have to. But either way, you want to hit level 2 just so you don't have to back up because if they hit level 2. Nautilus isn't going to be able to do anything, and you're going to be zoned until probably about level 3 because the way the wave will work is it'll push this way. If you don't push them, it'll get caught right here, and then they can just hit level 2, and now you're going to have to back up, and then it's going to be your turret, and then while this wave's coming in, they're just going to be already hitting it and pushing it while it's stuck on a turret, right? And then they're just going to kind of keep the wave pushed out, which in that case means that you have to wait for your jungler, or eventually level 3 Nautilus if you guys haven't already been poked down enough, right?
Yeah. My thinking was that I can't push because if I push, they'll trade on me, and then we don't win trades.
Well, you can push without going into their auto range. You have 650 range. Why would you have to trade with them to push? If Vayne wants to trade with you, you'll know if she's going to trade because she's going to walk up and she has to get in your range, right? If you're just standing back here hitting this minion, how is she going to trade with you? If not, you position yourself in a place, right? So if you're down here and you want to hit this minion, or you walk up to the auto range like right here, right? You hit this minion. How is Nami going to trade with you now if you're standing opposite to her? This is too far out of her range. And then say we kill this one and Nami's still down here. We're just going to go up here in this pocket right here. And now how's she going to trade with us? We just stay out of her range. If Nami then rotates back up to this side of the lane, if she decides, okay, I need to go hit her, so she goes up here, you just go back down here. You just stay opposite of her so she can't pitch you. You stay out of her range, right? And then ideally, Nautilus will stand wherever Nami is so that if Nami does try to go for a hit on you by walking around this pocket and like going for like walking this way, then Nautilus can cut her off with a hook, and that's an engage, right? So that stops Nami from being able to poke you, right? Does that make sense to you?
I mean, yeah.
You can be honest with me, like if I need to elaborate more.
Yeah, it makes sense, sure.
Okay.
I know what you mean.
Because like look, if you just queue this right here, if you just queue this, you kill all 3 of these. Obviously, maybe this middle one doesn't get killed or like whatever, but it'll be one hit. Nautilus should also be able to walk up. If you're putting pressure, Nautilus can walk up. Granted, actually, it'd be better if he saves his stacks for the next wave so you guys can hit level 2 quicker. But you queue this, these 3 are gone. You're already going to start hitting these ones. And now you still have 2 full HP minions. This one's a little low, but you have the range and you can just hit. And then if Nautilus, right, if you have casters, you just stand behind them. Vayne actually has to walk up a little bit to get in range. And then if Nami wants to trade you, you just back up in between your auto attack cooldowns. And if she does step up too far, then Nautilus can then get a hook right here, right? If these minions, because these minions won't be here, there's nothing for Nami to stand behind if she wants to walk up here to trade with you. So that makes it so she actually can't trade with you, because if she does, she gets Nautilus hooked, right? So that's now we have the advantage, because, and we're gonna start pressuring them a little bit with the fact that they're not gonna have a melee wave to sit behind to zone you. Nautilus misses that hook, but if he did land that, that'd be good for you guys, right? You see that?
Yeah.
Like, and that we'd be setting up the same potential, except instead of us now having to back up right here, we're still in the middle of the lane up here, and we're ready for this next wave to be caught in the middle, where we can start hitting level 2. And as soon as we hit the level 2 spike, because we have a relic shield, we're definitely going to hit level 2 quicker, because he can just execute the melee minions super quick, hit level 2, and now they have to back up, and now we just freeze the wave on them. And we just pressure them, and we just slow push it in, right? And then if they mess up and get greedy for a minion or something, Nautilus can just go for a hook, and that's when you're able to kind of like pressure or trade a little bit, because you can just obviously, you know, wiggle with Vayne's range. Whenever she's stepping up to auto attack, you're going to step back. You're going to hit her step back, right? So she can't get the trade on you, and then she's going to back up again, and then we're also going to go in again. And then if she keeps coming back down to auto you, we just auto her back up again, right? Potentially throw a Q in there. And if she is also the fact that she's trying to fucking pressure you with something, Nautilus is going to be like, hey, what's up? And he's going to hopefully get a hook on her, or just flash auto her at level 2, and then she's fucking dead because she's just rooted. But now they hit level 2, and now we're just stuck here doing nothing. Like, we don't want to be down here. We want to be in the middle of the lane at least, if not up here a little bit more. And we also do have to be aware of the fact that their bottom lane didn't leash right, so that means Elise should be starting her red buff, and if Kha'Zix sees our blue buff is alive, that means that Elise is pathing this way, right? If Kha'Zix's blue is not gone, if he doesn't run into Elise, that means she's pathing bottom. So by 3:15, around 3:10, we want to be really cautious of the Elise, because, you know, generally they're going to gank around the time that Scuttle's up. They're either going to gank before Scuttle's up, or they're going to gank after they do Scuttle, right? So usually between like 3:05 and 3:30, you want to be extra safe, because that's when Scuttle pressure is really bad. And obviously, if we had done what we talked about and we were pushed up a little more, Nautilus has the priority to just walk up and get a ward in the river, so that we do have a little bit of vision. Granted, against a champion like Elise, getting just a ward right here does not give us enough vision to be like really far up, right? Because she can just repel in. So even if you have a ward, if she just hops this wall with the blast cone and walks at this angle, she's gonna cut you guys off with a repel, right? So you do have to be afraid of that against Elise. But hopefully you or Nautilus should take the time to get a little bit of a deeper ward around this blue buff is pretty good, or just on the Scuttle to see her on the Scuttle, and then after she takes the Scuttle, which way she paths, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we end up getting the prior. Now we end up bouncing back the wave, because they had to back up after you hit level 2, right? They can't win the level 2, and they know that, right? So they're actually in a pretty good spot here. You hit level 2, and now just because of level 2, they know the all-in, they're going to be backing up. And you see this? That was good. This is all. Like, do you see what you just did? I know this is like this is really small, but I mean, this is exactly what you're going to be doing in the lane phase that I just talked about, level 1, where you see this right here. You're hitting the wave. You see Nami's walking up to hit you, right? And you just backed up. This is fucking perfect, dude. That's all you're going to be doing the whole lane, and you have to be aware of it. Like, it's annoying, because it's like, wow, that's a lot of work to have to constantly be looking at her, and every time she's walking up, I have to walk back. But that's what you have to do as a good player. And now, just do you see the pressure that Nautilus has at level 2? Like, literally, Vayne's refusing to push this wave at all on you. Granted, she knows Elise is going to level 3, so they're actually trying to get you to slow push, right? So there is definitely that part of it.
Is there like any lane you wouldn't push? Like,
yeah, it's every matchup's different, man. I mean, if you were the Vayne and Nami, you'd actually, well, I guess you'd want to be pressuring a little bit. Let me think of a lane off the top of my head. All right, if you're, well, let's just use the same matchup. Actually, let's use the same lane. If you're Caitlyn Nautilus,
okay.
If you're Caitlyn, well, because you can win the level 2. If you're Caitlyn Nautilus and you can't beat a level 2, like say you're Kate Nautilus against Alistair Lucian, right? Yeah. They'd win it all in on you, right? If they get on you. If Alistair combos you and Lucian can follow up, you'd probably be dead, or you'd at least have to flash, because you know, it could be turned either way. But for the sake of, if both sides play ideally. Lucian, not Alistair, should win like level 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, they just don't.
Because press the attack plus Alistair's combo into ignite, you're gonna get popped pretty quick. In that case, you might just want to hold the lane in the middle for either side, and then just be afraid. It just depends on the matchup. You kind of just have to watch the way they're playing, the way you're playing, and it does matter actually. Jungle matchups to matter, right? Because as we said, Elise, if you're against maybe, I'm so bad at coming up with people off the top of my head though. So okay, if you're against the Kazakhs, right? If Kazakhs is enemy side, and then you don't really care, you can just get a ward like right here, because what is Kazakhs gonna do if you guys see him? Even if he cuts you off, he's got no CC to. If you're up here and the enemy's by their turret, right? They're a little further up. If Kazakhs tries to cut you off here and you guys are full HP, what is he gonna do if he jumps on you guys? Like nothing happens. If anything, you guys can just burst him, because these two can't like follow up on Kazakhs because he's got no CC. So he's just gonna be alone. Elise, on the other hand, can repel, then she can go human form, stun, and then Nami flash bubbles you, right? And there's follow-up to that. So that means you can get a little bit more of a shallow ward against Kazakhs, whereas Elise, you need a deeper ward because she can still get on top of you. But granted, let's look a little bit more at just this matchup specifically before we talk about potential other matchups that can be towards the end. And then here, like, okay, why are we so far back? Right, we have such a big menu wave.
I was just focusing on CS.
We should be afraid though of Elise, right? Because we just talked about this. Scuttle's coming up, and Elise should be bottom side because Kazakhs' blue is up, and she started top side, meaning she pathed to her blue, right? A jungler's never gonna she could do this 3 camps as Elise, but that'd be pretty troll, and then she'd just lose so much pressure because Kazakhs started bottom side. She'd end up 2v2 top still, which would be stupid because Kazakhs is gonna have both butts. So you assume that she's gonna be going red to blue, right? Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Right, that's standard jungle pathing, right? So you're going to be worried about that now, and this, as we talked about, is not nearly deep enough a ward. He put it in like the closest part of the bush as possible, which is not necessary, because right here you have such a big minion wave that you and use your words to your teammates too. You have a big minion wave. There's no way these two can engage on you right here, right? Like if they try to engage, you just back up and you're fine.
Yeah.
If they do go on you, they probably still lose, or at least one of them is going to take a shit ton of damage because of minions. So they can't engage on you no matter what. So this is a case where you can tell your support, hey, get like a deeper ward because I'm safe, right? Whereas if the wave's even, then if Nautilus leaves, and then if the wave's even, right, if it's like 3 casters to 3 casters, then if Nautilus leaves, you are forced to go way back, right? Because you don't have the safety of the wave. So this is set up actually really well for you guys to get a pretty deep ward now. He misses the hook. And of course, with Nautilus in the lane, we should be wanting to stand like a little bit more aggressive just because we have this big wave, right? And that if you stand aggressive and Nautilus also goes aggressive, ideally, if you're up here, he's going down here, and if he's up here, you probably want to stand down here, right? Because then it pushes them away from the wave. If you're both up here, then they can still hide behind this wave, and then Nautilus can't really hook them, and then by the time the engage is already going off, you guys have taken a lot of damage before Nautilus can get a hook off, right? You want to start the engage with the hook. So you would want to be down here or up here, whichever opposite of Nautilus, just because then that forces them to walk back together, right? Does that make sense? Because they don't fight this with this wave.
Makes sense. Just didn't think about it before actually, but yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, they don't. Then they're not going to try to fight you. Like as soon as this isn't even necessarily about the fight. This is a potential all-in from Nautilus here with you guys positioned here, right? It's potential. Doesn't have to happen, because even if it doesn't happen, what we're doing, we're forcing them off the wave. They have to play back. Their jungler now, if they come, it's hard for them to do anything because there's already a big wave for you guys to fight in or run behind, and they're going to be forced so far back, right? So even if they don't fight, and if Elise doesn't even come, we don't care. We're just going to still pressure right here, deny them CS, just slow push this in, and then by the time this hits tower, it's going to be a really big wave, right? And we're collapsing 8 to 9 CS under their tower, which as Caitlyn, we can actually do a lot with under their tower, right? We can pressure, we can get tower damage, or in this case, because you would want deep vision, we would use the big wave under their tower rather than poking, because I mean, if you had a Zyra or Karma, it's a lot easier to poke under tower, right? But you have Nautilus, he can't do too much. So this might be a good time now to, instead of hitting this tower for like 100 damage, which isn't going to do anything for you, you go and get deep vision up here, right? You and Nautilus can roam it up together, get a pretty good ward down, maybe even just on the blue buff entrance, and then you can back up, come back to bottom lane, and now you're secure for the next wave comes in, and you're already shoving it back to them. Because you have a Nautilus, you might want to hold off on the shove and rather just keep building slow pushes, right? Because then every time you have a slow push, every time you build the wave in a state like this, these two can't do anything to you. Like every time the wave is in a state like this, it's potential all in, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every time you can build the wave to a slow push. So let's say, just for example's sake, we pushed the tower. This wave collapses the tower. They are stuck on our tower. We get a deep ward up here. We just check out where Elise is. If we see Elise, we just back up, right? Because we don't want to fight. And now we know Elise's bottom side. We're safe for a little bit. The next wave, we come back to lane. The next wave is coming in, and our wave is coming in. And all we have to do now, because we already have pressure on them, is just start thinning the wave out a little bit. Kill one minion, and then kill the melee minions, right? Just kill the melee minions so they don't have a front line to sit behind, and then do the same thing. Position here and here. Opposite Nautilus. They back up again. Otherwise, we potentially get an all-in. And now we just do the same thing. We slow push to the tower. It makes it so they're stuck under tower doing nothing. And we're still, in this case, if it's in this situation, we're still in a position where we're safe enough to back up, right? We're not way up here sitting under the tower for no reason for tower damage that we're not going to get. We're in a spot where it'll either collapse the tower now as a big wave that we can use to roam or get ward potential or even get a reset off, or it's going to be stuck here, slow pushing, and we can get an all in right here, or we see their jungler and we just back up, right? Rather than if we're constantly just shoving 6 minions in their tower, you can't do much with just one wave under the tower. You know what? Like 9 minions to 6 minions in our tower is a big difference. Because with 9 minions, they're literally like, you have a big wave to sit behind, they can't do much, and they're stuck for a bit. And most of the time that wave will be under the tower until the next wave already comes and collapses, which means that we just get extra time to push, and the wave will probably be caught around here again, which then, again, around here, yes, normally you do want, if you can, catch the wave down here and freeze it, but in this case, they're not going to step up. We already have the priority, and we can just keep getting it to a situation like this where these two are forced like they can't do anything, and you're drawing a lot of jungle pressure, and you're able to get the vision to avoid a gank, right? Like you have the vision up here, you can see the jungler coming, and you can back up in time because you have the wave to play behind and just the time to react. See, because he goes up alone and they're backing up, right? And see, if you were down here, where if she jukes down here to you now, like now you just have a perfect situation to like drop a trap right here into her, where she either gets hooked now or she walks into a trap. Kind of sucks he misses the hook, but if you're standing further up, it gives her less incentive to juke back, because if she does juke back, she's getting hit by you 100%, like, right? And then even if he does miss the hook, you win a trade. Traps are good. And this is exactly why this ward's not enough, right? Because, as I said, this is actually what happens. She just, I think, blast cones over. No, she actually just walks over, and now it doesn't matter, right? But recognize that you don't need to be here yet, because we don't know where Elise is, and we do know she started red buff, right? So we should, first of all, I'm sure you know this at this point, but like obviously this gank was so obviously coming, regardless of a vision or not. Like this gank's so obvious. You guys are pushed up. She started red buff. Scuttle spawned. She didn't contest topside Scuttle. 100% she's bot side, right? This gank was super obvious. But if we ignore that even, this would be our time where, okay, I'm going to back it up just real quick. And we don't want to miss those CS, obviously. All right, this is collapsing the tower, right? If it's like 3 minions collapsing the tower, they can hold it right here. They can just tank it, right? Which forces us to walk up with it, right? Nami doesn't want to tank this whole wave under her turret. Like right here, she's going to lose like half her HP if she tries to freeze it for the next wave. Plus, this wave is so big at that point that it's just going to push their tower anyways. There's no way they can thin it out in time for the next one, right? So already, this is collapsing. We can even, if we want to, we can walk up right here and just hit Nami one time to tell her, like, hey, you can't catch this wave. And then as soon as we do that, we just back up. And right here, actually, because we know Elise should be on bottom scuttle or bottom side, we actually should be walking up to the scuttle right now, because we can contest it, and their bot lane is stuck right here. So even if they do want to come, they're going to have to path all the way around through here, and we would see them coming if they disappear from bottom lane, and as soon as we see them coming, we just disengage off the Elise. We've wasted Elise's time. Their bottom lane chose to miss some CS to go help Elise, which is good for us because now they just waste their time, and we didn't lose anything because this wave is just being eaten by tower, and their wave, maybe we lose 1 CS, but we don't care because they missed like 5, right? And potentially you can steal Scuttle from Elise or even kill her right here. Like, see, like if right here you had been walking up instead, these guys aren't coming into this wave because if they do, you just turn on them and kill them, right? Before Elise even gets here. You just 100-0 them in this wave. Waves are so strong early. Like, minion waves are insane early. And you actually would have run into the Elise, right? So now we're dead here. And then just a small thing. If you're getting ganked, don't EQ. You're just locking yourself in Q animation for no reason. The damage here is not going to do anything for you. Right? What is the point of a Q?
Yeah.
You're going to hit Vayne for another 100 damage. Who cares? You're still dead. Like, there's no way you turn this fight around no matter how you combo her. So if anything, just use an EW because then you're not locked in an animation out of it. Plus, you could potentially get the trap off and get a root down, which saves you. So that's just a small mechanical thing. And then also, once we do get vision of their jungler, or once you've already like gotten a lead on them, and you know that you can 2v2 them at any point, and they can't contest the wave on you or anything, that's when like you can hold. Now you can go for a freeze down here, right? If you've already gotten a lead, you can just freeze the wave right in this spot, and now obviously then you have a ton of pressure because you have the whole lane for a Nautilus hook to potentially come out, and there's no way they get away at that point. But the thing is, early on in this lane, you're not going to be able to do that because if they trade with you to basically say, we're going to push the wave, they win it because of Nami's heals, right? Inside of a wave, you guys can't fight them. So, like, to get that priority on them, you need to have already established a lead and gotten a good reset off, right? Like, for example, I guess let's go back to that wave just to elaborate a little bit more on that part. Because there's a lot about, like, waves are pretty much the most important thing, right? Okay, so it's just this is early in the game, so it's but just for the sake of the example, right? Because this is a good wave for it. This wouldn't actually be a time that you would recall or anything, but just when this wave collapsed. All right, this wave's about to collapse. So basically, there are 3 things in the situation that you look at. All right, you get a big wave crashing, right? So number 1 would be, do we reset here, right? If we have enough for our BF sword here, yeah, we fucking reset, right? Because now she's stuck clearing this whole wave under her tower while we're resetting, and now we come back to lane, and by the time we get back to lane, she's just finished clearing that wave, and she's now pushing the second wave and doesn't have the time to reset. And if she does reset to match your reset, she's gonna miss the whole next wave because you're already here while pushing the next wave and while she's recalling coming back, right? So she misses a whole wave for that, and you win that, right? So that's number 1, is do we reset? And that's if we have enough gold for an item, if we have a big buy, a big reset, or if we obviously need health or mana. That's the answer. And then 2 would be potentially tower damage, right? We can hit the tower. This would be if we have like a good zoning support, if we have a Nami, if we have a Karma, if we have a Zyra. You get the point, right? If we have the champions that let us sit here under the tower just bullying the fuck out of them, right? You know those lanes when you played against a Zyra, Caitlyn, and you just get shit on under your own tower, and you're like, what the fuck do I do, man? And that's exactly how you build it up. You get a huge wave that they can't miss and don't want to miss, and then you just get Zyra just sitting there bullying them under their tower, right? So that's the second option. And here, that's not really an option for us because if we walk up, our Nautilus is useless here. Even if he gets a hook, it's under their tower. It doesn't do anything. So number 2, tower damage is out. 1, resets out. We don't need to do either of those, right? In this case. So the third option, of course, is, okay, we're going to stay in our lane, but we don't need to do anything up here. So we're just roaming and plus vision. Like, those are the 2 options, right? And they're kind of go hand in hand, right? You're walking up here to get vision, or like up here to get vision. And if their mid lane's overextended, you can maybe go with Nautilus and just go get a gank off real quick, run back to bottom lane, right? So obviously in this case, because we're level 2, it's early on, we want to take option number 3 of just going and getting vision, plus potentially invading their jungler or like running into Elise and even killing her is an option. And it happens way more often than you expect. Like that's what good players know what to do, is like influence the map in that kind of sense. Because do you see at this point now, like why walking up here is literally pointless for you? Like this literally does nothing.
Yeah.
Even if you hit this tower to like this much HP, what's the point? Like, who cares? You know, if we're gonna get a tower plate, we're gonna get a tower plate. But here we're not. And then the gank happens. So those are like kind of like those are kind of the 3 things that you really want to be like thinking about while you're collapsing that wave when working with a slow push. And I would say reset is your number 1 priority. Just obviously when you have items, because item spikes determine a lane. And so if we could actually reset, imagine instead of the gank, right? So imagine we don't die to this gank. We can see this right here. Imagine this is a 1300 gold reset instead, and we collapse the wave and we're resetting right now. We don't die, but instead of dying, if we didn't die, we'd already be probably walking back to lane about like maybe only a little bit ahead, but like right here, right? Just for example, that about right there is what I would say, because the death timers are pretty short right now, and you have to recall obviously, so that's why I'm saying that it'd be only right there. You see how they would still be stuck pushing this wave in like they are right now. These 2 want to reset right now, so they're trying to shove you in to make it so they can reset. But you're going to be in lane before they can, so you would just stop their recall and you'd just fuck with them, right? And now you have a BF sword, and these 2 are stuck in lane with just a Doran's Blade and Nami's support at them, and she's low on HP. So now they have to decide, okay, well, are we going to reset and miss this whole next wave that's coming in because Caitlyn's going to push it in time, or are we going to be greedy but not miss CS and just try to get XP and potentially get a jungle playoff, right? And at that point, you can just that's where you would be able to hold the wave right here and catch it here, and now just zone them out of it. And if they ever reset, you then push it in, right? That's pretty standard stuff. Pretty basic wave freezing, right?
Yeah.
And here they reset, so we don't want to be shoving, or we don't want to be freezing, because we already know they reset, so we should just be shoving this in, so to deny them that next wave. I mean, I'm just saying that because, I mean, even if they don't reset, even if you get ganked, like, okay, well, 1 at least died, so you're not getting ganked. But 2, I mean, Nami was literally out of HP and mana, so if they do stay and try to do some cheesy thing, it's not going to work. So they definitely are trying to reset. Actually, did Vayne stay, or did she already reset? She stayed? Or did she just come back? Okay, no, she came back.
I have
okay.
no clue.
Yeah, she didn't stay. I was going to say that. You hit her with a Q. Okay, that's what happened.
So this is basically the same thing, right?
So yeah, this is pretty much the same thing, right? We don't have enough vision to be pushing up here. And granted, now you're a little bit stronger. You're level 4. Also, by the way, Cola is such a shit buy. Don't buy that item. So it feels good. You feel like you're pressuring them. You feel like you're doing damage, but like, I mean, we could do this 20 seconds later, do the same thing, but we're safe because we got vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to miss anything again because they're still stuck with these minions, and these minions are still just coming in. So then by the time we've gone and got vision, and maybe even ran into Elise again, you know, you never know. Maybe you go up here, get vision. You run to, obviously you don't want to go all the way up here because their bottom lane can collapse super easily, right? But like generally, if you ran into Elise around like this area, you'd be able to kill her or make her blow summoner because their bottom lane can't rotate fast enough. Granted, you're paying attention also to the mid lane. If your mid laner's down here stuck on her tower and their mid laner's here, you might not want to try to fight the Elise because then their mid laner collapses and then their bot lane collapses and now you're pinched. But even if you just went into the jungle right here, got a ward like just where that like vision plant is, you know what I'm talking about, like that, just that little entrance, right?
Yeah,
like the little ramp. Then if you just see the Elise in that point, okay, cool. We know Elise's bottom side, so we just back up and we just play really far away because we do. You know how waves work, right? I mean, if you don't touch this wave at all, it's gonna slow push to you.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So if we do see Elise on bottom side, now we just say, okay, cool. You guys can slow push to us, and we'll just let Elise waste her time. Because Elise clearly is going to be hovering around bottom lane trying to get a gank off. And then if we see her, or if we wait like 45 seconds, we don't have anything on our bottom side of the map right now. We would assume, okay, she's probably already cleared her bottom side. Now we can go back to being a little aggressive, or we could even use that wave manipulation to just say, if we're strong enough at this point, right, now we let them slow push back so that we can just catch this wave down here and Nautilus can do his thing, right? And then we can just go for a freeze. That's like if you backed with a BF sword and Vayne was stuck with no items, or if she had like less damage than you, right? In a case where you're already ahead and you can just bully her. The problem with the problem that people always think like freezing is always good, right? But like the problem that people don't see is like if you freeze down here, it's kind of bad for your top laner, because now their jungler is going to say, okay, well I can't do shit bottom lane, so they're just going to kind of camp your top side. So if in that sense, like you might just be screwing over your top side, or I mean, you know what I mean. If you have a bad match up top and they're getting wrecked and you're just freezing down here, your top laner is going to take the brunt of that, because then jungler is going to say, fuck bottom lane, I can't even gank that. It does obviously give you more kill potential, but you do run the risk of that. Whereas if you're up here, you're bringing their jungler pressure down to you, which means that you're in more control of the game, but it might be harder to get a kill with a Nautilus under their tower. Does that make sense? Because as long as you're playing smart and you're getting vision and you're just making sure that you're not over-committing to when their jungler could gank you, then you're pressuring so much, you're controlling the bottom side of the map, you're making their jungler come down, and now your top lane is being relieved a lot of pressure, and your jungler can push top side if you don't need your jungler to help you, right? And then the problem is, as soon as you get greedy one time and you die to their jungler, you might have just thrown the lane and made the game pretty hard for yourself. So there is risks, but that's why you need to play smart and like know what those risks are and when to back up, what to get vision. Vision is always like number one priority. It's so important to have vision because it literally makes their jungler useless if you have vision. Plus, if you get the vision down up here, right, and Elise just pops up on this, great. Now your jungler knows that they can invade topside, or they can do a dive top lane, or they can do Herald, right? You know what I mean? It's not even necessarily preventing you from a gank, but even in just being able to getting a ward that can see them, like if you can ward over this Gromp wall and just see when she's doing Gromp, that's so important for your jungler, like for everyone on your team, because now your top laner knows their jungler's bottom side. Your mid laner knows their jungler's bottom side. Like your top side of the map can do whatever the fuck they want if they have the resources to do it. And then, okay, backing up real quick. This, I don't know, this was so bad right here. You're like freezing this right here, while Vayne is just kind of like thinning it out too. I don't know why Vayne stops autoing. She should be like, she could be thinning this out and just keeping it. Like if you're letting this, you're potentially letting Vayne hold the wave right here, which you're literally just asking to be ganked right here. And we already talked about the Elise has the tools where if she comes in already right here, it's too late. You don't even have flash up. It doesn't matter if you see her. She's still here and you're still dead, right? So this should not happen. You definitely don't want this wave here, and you should just be collapsing this to tower. And then that's when you can decide, okay, next wave is going to come in, and then I can start a slow push again, right? The wave will reset if you just collapse this really quickly. Because after this Q, this is no longer going to slow push to you. You've already thinned it out too much. And then you kill this minion, and now it's 6 minions to 5. A slow push, yes, we did just talk about building slow push, but you don't build it right here. You build it down like in the middle of the lane, right? Or even like back here, right? So this was big mistake, because this is asking, Elise, please gank me, daddy, Elise. My body is ready. See, and it's just, you're not autoing a minion right now. You're just kind of waiting the last hit. Shouldn't be. You see how this is bad, yeah? You never want the lane to be stuck like this, because luckily we see Elise topside, and now we can kind of do something around that. But before that, we don't know where she is, right? And I mean, you could argue like her red buff's coming up. She should be up there because she can clear Krugs, Raptors, gank top, get a red buff, whatever, right? But like a good jungler doesn't care about that. They see the free kills and they get the free kills. And again, we have a Nautilus, so holding the wave here does literally fucking nothing for us. Nautilus can't get a hook here. Even if he does, nothing happens, right? If you have Zyra again, maybe you could like, maybe this would be a good play. It probably would be, because she can just zone them, and then you can still get a slow push kind of right here. Either way, it'll collapse, and it's just about the fact that she can harass. But at that point, even you could just do the same thing under turret and be getting tower damage at the same time, right? So with a Zyra, even it'd still be better to just push the wave into tower so you can get vision and then just bully them under tower, and because that's how you take a tower really quickly, right? When you have like it's really easy to, or Zyra Caitlyn lane probably takes bot tower the fastest that I ever see. Like almost every game, they always get towers so quick if they're playing the lane correctly. See, and exactly. See, he just got a hook there. Nothing happens, right? Granted, this Vayne, I don't know why she's walking up like this. You guys should win this. But you do start winning it. Biscuit was popped a little bit late. It would have been nice to have the mana a little sooner. Really good Q on Nami. Now Nami's too low on mana. She's got one heal left in her before she's completely doomed, right? That was unfortunate. You hit a minion right there. I actually didn't. That makes sense. Still, though, you play that really well using the bushes. Like, mechanically, like, your fighting and stuff is fine. I just think your wave management is just really poor. You don't think about it at all. Which, don't feel bad, because that's literally, like, everybody's problem. Like, even, like, low elo players now are pretty good mechanically. It's just the lower elo you go, the stupider people are, like, in terms of, like, understanding the game. And then this is... Annie does ping, but... Dude, Annie complained about this because she pinged Mia, but she pinged it, like, 3 seconds before he showed up. Like... It's funny. And this is another example of, okay, well, we don't have vision here. We're a little bit overextended, so Pikes is a free kill. And he shows up. So, again, this is just not a good spot to be without any vision. So at this point, like, that trade was good. It's kind of unfortunate. This Nautilus just missed hooks, right? Like, these should have been kills. Like, someone should have died here if Nautilus didn't miss something. Where does he... I know he misses a hook. That auto was really fucking tragic too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because look at this. He turns for the Nami and oh my god, dude. Why? Why doesn't he just kill the Vayne, man? That's a tilter. And well, that's his mistake, not yours. But that would have actually been a kill here. And now even though you get the kill, Pyke's still mid. You see him you'd have gotten the kill. You should, as soon as you get the kill, be checking the map. You'd see Pyke's missing from mid. And even though this wave looks really nice and you want to push this out, you can't. Until you see him back on the map. It's not worth the risk, right? These not hooks were so bad, dude. Sick juke, but Pyke's too good with the hook. That was a really good juke, though. I would, yeah, it's not a big deal. I'm not even gonna say. I was just gonna say you should probably just have put your trap down to like zone her a little bit, because like a really good thing with Caitlyn too is when you are in that situation where Vayne's gonna come in on you like this and you're pretty even on HP, because you have longer range than her, you can just drop a trap right in front of her and now she can't hit you, because you can just play like let me get to that exact moment. All right, this works. So like at this point when you're walking here, if you just drop a trap right here, right, and then you stand behind it like this, you get a free auto on her, or she has to back up, right? Or she walks into it.
Yeah.
Because
people never even see this trap. Actually, they just always walk into them.
Right. Yeah. But regardless, let's say that she's smart and not gonna walk into it.
Yeah, I know she has to
Right.
walk
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. You can just stand here, use your range advantage, and she can't hit you. Right now, you make sure you're at max range. If she wants to walk up, she's gonna have to now walk around this trap, and while she's doing that, you get a free auto attack on her. So Caitlyn's traps are actually really good to be used like utility based like that, as just like a put them in front of them, make it so they can't hit you and you can hit them type of thing. And then this. I don't know why Nautilus is doing this alone. At this point, he's still fine. You're still fine. So at this point, you just want to be aware. Like, if Kha'Zix starts walking down, you want to start walking to match. Like, you don't care about this wave anymore. Because let's say that if you walk up here, because Nautilus is already behind, right? And Kha'Zix is in a position to walk down too, right? And Pyke's dead, so your mid lane has the pressure. It's 3v3 if anything. You guys definitely win that 3v3 with Nautilus, Caitlyn, and Kha'Zix, just because Nautilus wins you it, right? He's got a lot to engage for you. If they collapse, the problem is here. If these two walk up and you're still down here, now you can't walk up, right? Like what happens is you get scared. So if you just walk up here, they can't keep pushing this. Because now they don't know where Nautilus is and they don't know where you are, and look how much space is behind them. If you Nautilus just come out like this on them, they're gonna lose that. Granted, I know Nautilus isn't 6 yet, but that's still what we're gonna think about. And because we should have Kha'Zix here, because obviously Nautilus just walked up and saw Scuttles up, and Kha'Zix wants that next. That's definitely going to be his path. That's what every jungler is going to do. It's the optimal play. And now you're just putting yourself in a position where if these two are stupid and keep pushing this now, you three just come behind them and they're dead. But if you don't walk up and you let these two walk up, but to potentially get into a 2v3 with Elise, where you're now behind them and not in a position to fight, now they lose the 2v3, they lose the Scuttle, your support jungler maybe die, and now it's going to be really bad for you. But if you just go up now, it doesn't matter if they keep pushing, because they shouldn't be able to. Because if they do, they're dead. Right? Do you see that?
If they come, yeah.
You think so? Or okay, what should I clarify more on you?
I think you misheard what I said. I said if they come, then they die.
Oh, yeah. Okay, my bad. I thought you just cut out, so I thought you heard. I thought I heard kinda. So I was like, okay. But you see this now. So the problem is, I get where you're coming from now. I know I was saying rotate, and now it's too late, right? Because now you can't walk up. They're already collapsing. Elise is there. Nautilus and Kha'Zix are pinched. For some reason, they still are down here, and they don't start walking up yet. And so you're actually in a position where you could actually kind of, in this case now, where you've already been too late, you can still do something. Now we just hover. We don't have to start committing, because if we make the mistake of walking in this space, Nami, ulti, Vayne condemn, there's too much CC for us to get away at this point, right? They have way too much engage. But if you just hover around here for when you see them actually go up, because mid lane's already dead and Annie has, yes, she's going to be late, but the fight will still go on. Potentially, the mid wave's already crashed. She has nothing to do there. She can run all the way down here. You just hover for if a fight does break out, you follow up on it, right? So that's kind of like the secondary play.
I kind of started doing that, but then I just wanted the CS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you greedy for the CS, but like you don't even need to, because Vayne actually already thinned the wave out enough that like we don't like it's fine for you. You're gonna miss this, yeah, but it doesn't matter if you miss this 3 CS. This 3, the casters are the least valuable anyways, right? By far, these don't matter. Yeah. They're like 14 gold. They're least XP. Imagine this fight's breaking out right here. If their bot lane gets here and you're not there, they lose. And now the game's bad for your Kha'Zix and your Nautilus and you, because their bottom lane's potentially fed and their Elise is fed. And that means that she's going to pressure you. And if they die here, they can probably do Dragon too, which is, again, bad for us, right? So you see now, like when I was saying rotate, like it was because if you rotate now, these two can't. You guys already have the 3 people up here, and if they try to come up here behind you guys just turn on them or just turn on the Elise, because there's 2 split, right? Split target, when a team is split like that, like 2 people down here, let's say, just for example's sake, instead of this, let's just say the fight's here. If they've got 2 people down here, you have 3 people right here, and they have 2 people up here. If it's okay, 1 person, your team 3, and their team 2 right here. If everybody's full HP, you 3 win this because you instantly blow up this person or these 2, which whoever comes in first, right? Because you have 3 people who can just instantly target, and they're gonna die. And then as soon as you kill 1 person, now it's 3v2, and you just turn back onto the other 2, right? So you just want to avoid the situation of you're just, by not moving, you're greeting for 3 CS and potentially giving the enemy team like 700 gold. Whereas if you just go up, you guarantee your team gets this buff. Your Kha'Zix will then get the whole bottom side jungle because Elise can't contest. You can get dragon maybe if a fight breaks out, and if a fight does break out, you're gonna win it now, right? And who cares that we missed 3 CS? Because if we've already won that fight now while we were gone, the way this wave is actually set up is it's going to slow push. So if we win this fight now on top of that up here, and their bottom lane's not here to defend anymore, we get a free tower also. Or tower damage, whatever, right? Or dragon. Or if they're low HP from a trade or a fight, now you have this again. The slow push is still building up, and if they either have to reset and miss a fucking huge wave, or they greed under their tower, and now you can. Granted, you guys are still healthy enough, you can potentially dive them, and then get tower on top of it. And even if you don't get like the double kill on their bottom lane, it just it just guarantees that this play works out for your team, which is really important. And you're setting yourself up for a potential kills and gold for yourself, setting up the wave for your tower. And if you don't get the kills, even you burn summoners, which is huge. Like if you can just burn bot lane summoners, if you burn their summoners and Nautilus hits level 6, dude, they come back to lane, they die because Nautilus presses R on one of them, right? And they're just fucked. So even if we don't kill them, we're at least gonna burn their summoners. And if their bottom lane doesn't contest, or if the fight breaks out and their bottom lane decides that they just want to push this wave because they're stupid, then obviously after the fight you just go behind them and you collapse on them, right? But that'd be a pretty fucking stupid play by them. But regardless, just for the final sake, because we were talking about if you rotate late, if right here when you realize, okay, Nautilus is roaming, things are going good. As soon as Nautilus is over here and Kha'Zix starts walking bottom side to scuttle, this is where we should be going up right away, right? Because now we're still safe in a spot where these two aren't going to collapse on us in time, and if they do, Nautilus and Kha'Zix will meet us like right here, and then they lose that, right? So, and then again, if you're not worried about them pushing this to tower, because if they do, they die, right? And a lot of the time, if they don't have the vision, they don't see you walk up there, right? If they see you walk up there, they kind of know something's going down. But if they don't have the vision and you just walk up there and they don't see you, they might just assume like, oh, she's just warding, let's just shove this. And they might just be even just 2 seconds too late to backing up, where Nautilus is already in a position to go behind them, and then Kha'Zix can follow up and you can kill, and we get a double kill. And then tower or dragon, right? Because a lot of people get the mistaken idea of like, yeah, but if the fight breaks out like it does now, I'll just follow then. But it's like it's different when you're already there as opposed to like when you're split, where there's, because if their bottom lane's in the river right there, and if Elise doesn't show up yet and she's a little bit later, then you guys are just cut off. Like you're cut off from those two, and you can't walk up until the fight's already started. And by that point, Kha'Zix might have already been bursted by Nami ulti into a bubble, into a Elise cocoon, and he's dead before you can even get there, and now it's 3v2 for you guys, and you lose that still, even though they don't have ultis, right? Because early game, numbers are way more important than stats. Like, if you're fed late game, yeah, you guys might win the 2v3, but this is not late game. This is the early game where it's more important to have more members than it is to have, like, an item, right? Because everybody's pretty much, most of the time on equal terms. Yeah. And this is fine to get tower damage because we already killed Elise. But we do need to be aware of Pyke now. Yep, and there's Pyke. So, like, pretty much time it where, okay, Pyke's stuck in our tower. We should be looking at the map the whole time we're doing this. We don't really need to be staring at the tower damage to hit the tower, right? Our eyes are on the map. Okay, the wave's crashing mid. Any reset. So if Pyke doesn't show up with this wave, we're leaving right away. And he wouldn't have shown up. And granted, we do see him right here. But if we don't see him right here, we would know to back up because he didn't show up on this ward, right? And when this lane crashed. Because if he's mid right now, he's going to be pushing this out, right? If he's not, this is a fine roam for him right now because the wave's crashing in the middle. He has the opportunity to roam that right now because he's not going to miss anything. He's gonna miss as much as Annie does, right? Until Annie gets there. But it's going to be worth for him, right? Does that make sense? That's like standard roaming and lane things. Like, always the best time to roam is when the wave's going to crash and you're not going to miss anything. He knows that he probably knows that Annie reset, so it was a time for him to go. Or he was maybe even following for Annie if Annie was going to dive their bottom lane. This was good. We back up in time, so this was good. I'm just afraid that if we didn't have Kha'Zix there to spot him plus the scuttle, that you wouldn't back up in time and would die to him, right? So we do right here
Probably.
need to be glancing at the map every second. You hit the tower, you glance at the map. You drop your trap, you hit the tower, you glance at the map. Oh, I don't see Pyke mid. I'm backing up. Pyke, we know Pyke's still around. Elise should probably. I mean, I would assume that she might be bottom side again just because Mountain Dragon's up and she doesn't want to lose that pressure because Nautilus will probably fight soon. Pyke's still here, and this is where you mess up. Pyke 100% has ulti. You're definitely gonna die if you walk in range. So like you can kind of just bait him out by like Pyke's not gonna use any abilities now because he's gonna wait to use it on you. So like as long as you just kind of hover like out of the range, just kind of going back and forth, you can keep baiting him and it just kind of like standing there and auto attacking, and then Kha'Zix comes in. Hopefully Nautilus can get out. We just stepped up too far and died. Right? He actually saved his Q because he was waiting for you to get in range so he could ult Q you or Q ult you. This whole time he hasn't used his Q. Smart by him because he was waiting for this, right? So we got to be aware of the fact that this Pyke's definitely going to be targeting you. We don't want to walk up until we know he can't target us anymore. With you being that low in HP, honestly, I don't think that 3v3 is winnable at all. Even if you have flash and heal up, doesn't matter. Like you were pretty fucked there. Unless you flash the Pyke ulti, that would have been good, but Annie cleans us up. Okay, so this is actually a mistake too. Annie's bottom right now. Why are we going bottom? If she kills these two, she's gonna clean this wave up and shove this for you. Like you should be mid holding this and shoving her wave out, right? Because if you just go bottom lane with her now she just has to kill these two people, run all the way back mid. She misses all of this. She doesn't want to do that. She might even want to. She wants to get She wants to get this double because she wants to recall and spend her gold, and then she wants to go back to mid. So right, standard. You should be going mid here. These are really important to recognize too.
This is pretty easy decision.
Yeah, this is like it seems standard, but it is. I'm just reinforcing it because it's really important to recognize these rotations like every time you can. Because this is huge. Because obviously you would just tell her to like if she starts to walk back mid, you just tell her like shove
she just shoves them
right?
more.
Yeah. See, right now we have pretty good vision. We do just have to be a little afraid of a blast cone potential. I think it's down right now, anyways. But I always forget. I think you don't. You don't see blast cones respawn on the map, right? Like if this blast cone was up, you wouldn't see it until you actually physically see it, right?
I think
pretty sure that's how it works. So great, we're on tower. We feel like we have good vision, but again, Elise could just come from this, hop over this wall, and then so we want to at least just make sure if the blast cone's there or not. So like maybe just walk up. I think of the best ward we can get for against Elise is one right there. And then if we're going to be playing this far up all game, right, we can actually pink ward this river bush. So then we're just going to have that all game. We don't have to worry about rewarding it until it gets cleared, and then we'll just have another one, right? So that's why we need a pink ward. And then our yellow ward can go right here, where every time it expires, we'll just shove it in a tower, go back up, reward this. This is just because now we'll see the river, and now we'll see, obviously, so if she just comes this way, we'll still see river. And then most of the time they will come from around your blue area. So you want to just have vision of if she can blast cone over. Otherwise, you can go, like, another thing to do, right, in this case, is instead of hitting the tower, go up, actually physically check the blast cone yourself, blow it up, and then if you do blow it up, you don't have to ward exactly right there because now there's no blast cone potential for her to come over on. And then you just do that on respawn. So this was super good trade. A lot of damage. She walks into the trap too. Boom. Now they're already fucked. Elise ends up showing up mid. Vayne just got a good trade off. Good EQ. Yep. And then at this point, we see Elise Pyke, but like, I just say don't chase at this point because like you're not like there's no way you catch her yourself, right? If she's gonna die, she's gonna die. Nautilus can get her. And if anything, it's just kind of risky to keep chasing because they have really high mobility in Elise and Pyke. So if you guys do overcommit to this point, these two can run you down really easily. It's better to just, hey, we killed the Vayne, let's just shove the tower, deny Vayne as much as possible, and then we can reset, right? That's more optimal for us than chasing this Nami all the way fucking up here. which he gets her, but now it wouldn't be worth it. It's better to just potentially, yeah. And then your recall here is fine. We see Elise at World, we'd see that it's fine. Assuming that they're going to come. So if we don't have any vision down here, we want to reset, right? Because they can loop through here. We that's what we were afraid of. I'm sure
that's
it was our jungle.
recalling.
So as soon as we see Kha'Zix here, now we know, okay, we can shove this, right? Because Kha'Zix would have seen them, because we have this pink here. Kha'Zix would have seen them if they're going to come. So now that tells us our information. We can actually shove this next wave out real quick, because we don't see them by Kha'Zix. And if they do run into Kha'Zix, he should be able to actually kill one of them. So. And now Kha'Zix jumps into a 2v1 and then flames you for his death. But you actually, this was super good by you. Like, this play overall was really good. Never lucky, Annie. So this would actually be, now that we have IE, this is a point in time where you can actually play to try to freeze this wave, right? Because now there's too much pressure. Like, you have IE. If Nautilus gets a hook, plus he has when his ulti's up, if he has ulti, which they're going to assume it's up right now, they can't play this far up. They're going to die, right? As soon as Nautilus gets an ulti off, one of them's going to die. Because you're just going to trap under the ulti, and then they're going to get one shot by your IE. Even if you don't get a crit, your auto Q into another auto should be a kill, right? You play Caitlyn, you know that. You see that. So now we have the damage. We have the pressure to we can go for a freeze here. If it gets broken, or if it's like a minion trolls and walks to the tower, it's whatever. We can still play the same way we were, but we can attempt to freeze here and hold a freeze just for the sake of getting a kill and getting kill pressure, especially because Kha'Zix is also bottom side, so we can potentially he can gank here, and you do have a pink in here, right? So this is a good time to look for a freeze, just for some kill potential or kill pressure. See, and then we're shoving this, but you see, like, they already backed up. We didn't need to keep shoving this, right? They know, like, as soon as they kill this melee, they can't walk up this far. Because now, at this point, Nautilus would kill him. So if he didn't Q this wave, yeah, cool, we got 182 damage on Vayne, but that doesn't fucking matter. It's useless damage, it gets healed. Did Nami just heal herself? I think she did.
I don't know.
But this would have been a good wave to not just shove and maybe go for a freeze here. Or, and then actually vice versa. So if say we have a tanky jungler who with dive potential, or if our jungler says that they want to dive, they're confident to dive, this is where, or if they're half HP or something, instead of a freeze, we can build up a slow push and then potentially go for a dive on their tower, right? So that really is dependent on like health bars and who your jungle champion is, because Kha'Zix doesn't really want to dive towers because he doesn't get the isolation damage under towers very well, which makes it just kind of iffy to dive, right? Because if Nami just gets a really good ult and bubble, you guys can potentially just all three die, especially because it's Vayne. She has the tumble. They're pretty hard to dive, right? So that would be more incentive for you to go for a freeze. But I hope that information makes sense in the sense of, like, if you have the diveable, if they're team's bot lane is diveable and you have a good jungler for diving, then you can build up a slow push instead of a freeze there to go for a dive. And fuck Pyke. I hate that.
I could have run faster, to be honest.
Yeah, Nautilus is walking up real far. We don't have vision. This is weird because Kha'Zix saw the Pyke and then just let him walk right past him. Nautilus is in a bad spot right here. This is such a bad time to get a ward because you guys don't have the pressure. It's in the middle of the lane. Like, you're not worried about a gank yet, right? You're sitting down here. You're sitting down here. Like, you have this push warded. You're not in a gankable spot. You're in a spot where you two could both back up. Your support shouldn't be warding that far up until either one, he sees Pyke mid, plus he sees Elise somewhere on the map, whether it be here, up here, or top or mid, whatever. Then he can go for that ward. But with no vision, you don't want to go for this ward until you push this out a little bit. Made their bot lane stuck back here, and then you can just stand like right here, drop the ward there, so that if they try to, they're too far away to collapse, right? Whoops. So this was not really your mistake here. Maybe trying to, and that was just a good play by Pyke. I wouldn't really put that one on you too much. Gee, this dude top lane's getting fucked too. I never even realized that this game I wasn't paying attention to top lane at all. These were some good traps, kind of getting him off, or getting Vayne off Nautilus. I think our last one could have been placed a little earlier. Vayne just walks into the trap though. Oh, that key was so close. Then nice hold. Yeah, that was a good play. Coming back, but then Elise shows up. So this is where, right? This was I think the EQ problem, or the
EW still WE.
W. Yeah. See, she got out. I think if you hit the trap first, it would have just having the slow afterwards is better. It was a good flash too. See, like I really do think like watching your team fights, I feel like if you're ahead and you have like obviously this game's an extreme example of like you guys were getting kind of wrecked across the map. I feel like I'm pretty confident that you play well in team fights. Granted, like looking just from this game mechanically and the way you play team fights in position plus op.gg, like in the games you won, you stomp pretty hard, right? Like I think your problem is pretty much just purely laning right now. Is lane and like macro and inside the laning phase, which I hope so far you've recognized that a little bit, because you
sure. It just I'm still not sure like what to like this is like very specific thing I think
right,
matchup, right?
right. You can only really, I mean, we can only really talk about this matchup because this is the only one that we're watching, and that's the only one that we've seen you play, right? I haven't seen you play other matchups, so I mean, the best way, if you are curious about a matchup, you know what? If you're wondering how do I play a matchup, watch the matchup. Like go on YouTube and watch Korean solo. Just Google or like YouTube, not Google. But go on YouTube and type in the search bar Korean solo queue Caitlyn, and there will be probably 3 games per patch that you can watch of a pro, and you just have to find a matchup that you want to see. Obviously, like certain matchups are pretty similar to others, right? Like Caitlyn versus Ashe is pretty similar to Caitlyn versus Varus, right? They're both longer range. They both have some sort of poke. They both have slow, and they both have utility ulti. So they're pretty much the same to lane against. The bigger, and then you worry about the support matchup too. It's a lot of playing and watching and just thinking about what the champion has in their kit and like what can you do to stop them from playing the game, and what can you do to help to enable your support, right? So like this game, I don't really think it's worth to watch this part anymore. So like for example, this game, right? Level 1, we're coming to this. How do we set up this lane to make it so Nautilus can play the game really the way he wants to, right? Letting them hit level 2 first is not what Nautilus wants. He wants a level 2 power spike, right? Because if he gets level 2 power spike, he can fuck them up, especially if they're still level 1. But if they hit level 2 first, now Nami's just going to walk up here, and so is Vayne, and they don't give a fuck, because if you're still level 1, they're just going to bully you. And then if you guys try to trade, they win because they just heal up, and they have the level advantage. Level 1 to level 2 is the biggest level advantage of the game, and then level 2 to level 3 is also huge, right? So we just want to come to this lane. Like, it's just asking yourself things like that. So, I mean, you could say, if we have Karma with us, what do we want to do? You know, the same matchup. If we have Karma with us, how do we want to play the lane? Okay, well, it's Karma versus Nami. We have good poke, but they have good sustain. So, like, we don't have the sustain, we just have poke. So that maybe puts us at a disadvantage in the sense that if we try to trade, they can heal. But if we get a good trade off in which Karma gets a mantra Q, you get an auto Q off, and they don't get damage in return, you win that because they have to spend mana on the sustain, right? So in that case, it's how do I manipulate these two into a position where Karma can poke them? Because now if Karma can just poke them, and we just force, rather than Nami to be able to trade with her W, we just force her to heal the Vayne up, you win that, right? Because, yeah, at that point, you're just trading mana. But Nami's mana, Nami's spells cost a lot more mana than Karma's. Nami's heal is like fucking 110, 120 mana, dude. It's insane. Whereas Karma's Q is like, what, 60? So she can spam Qs, and if they get a lot of Qs off, Nami's not going to be able to keep sustaining all lane. And then at that point, it's just, you're supplementing Karma's support by like, okay, you stand down here, which forces Vayne then to stand up here. And if Vayne goes to CS, we're just aware of the fact that if Nami's up here, we wanna be opposite of Nami. And then like this is what'll happen naturally. Like you'll see this happen, by the way. If you really try to, like, if you're aware of it while it's happening, if you're thinking about it, if you're here, if you have a Karma here, all right, I guess instead of X, I'll do Caitlyn, Karma, and then Vayne, and then Nami, right? This is how it'll be set up at the start, because generally Vayne is gonna go diagonal to you because that's how you get the longest range, right? And she wants to be away from you. She doesn't like to get hit by you, right? Whereas Nami at this point has shorter range on you now, and she's also avoiding Karma's Qs because she's sitting behind minions. And then Vayne will also probably be more like right here where she's not, Karma can't Q her, right? So instead she's gonna have minions blocking her, and Karma wants to stand here to be a little more aggressive, but it's hard for Karma to walk up here because if she does, she'll take minion aggro up there, and people, that anyway. To get more into it now, you see how that's set up though, right? Like this, you see why the setup would be like this.
Yeah, sure. People do that like always.
So what you'll do is you'll walk up, because now you're short range to Vayne and you're long range to Nami. So Nami can't W you and you can auto Vayne still. And if Nami does like walk up to you, right, you see her walking like this, you back up, and now Karma gets to Q her. But Karma won't be right here. She'll actually, as you run up, she should run down now, because now she gets to hit Nami free. And now Nami has to run up here and Vayne has to run down here. And it'll literally be that over and over and over until eventually one side fucks up. Or Vayne doesn't rotate fast enough, or Nami doesn't rotate fast enough to the point that Karma's now down here and she's not paying attention. And now Karma gets free Qs and you get free hits on Vayne. And now they can't win the trade because Nami has to use her heal on either herself or Vayne, and the other person is still taking damage. So if Nami walks up and you don't walk down, now you're fucking up, because now Nami's going to get free Ws on you from here, right? And then you lose that trade because she wins the heal. And if Vayne's still up here and Karma's still down here, Karma's stuck behind minions and can't Q people, right? But and Karma wants to be down here even more so, because then she can get bush control. And then if she does get bush control, if you have a pink ward for her later in the game, you can just pink this, and now Karma can just sit in here, and these two can't do anything. They have to back up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's just like, that's an example of what you should think about, right? So like that in this example, it's okay. Back to the start. How do we trade or punish Vayne without getting hit in return for this by their sustain, or how do we make it so their sustain isn't necessarily fully sustainable, right? And then obviously what you also have as an advantage in this part is you can use your Qs. So if we walk up here, you can use your Qs to both push the lane now and hit the Vayne, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want to be doing, because Vayne is single target, Nami's single target. They don't have pushing ability. Both you and Karma can push them through their minions. If Karma gets a good Q on a caster right here and Vayne's standing behind it, it'll hit both of them, right? And now she's poked Vayne and she's pushed the wave a bit. And then if they keep taking poke and keep having to spend mana, which you want them to do, it's fine if Nami has to just heal Vayne up. You just want to stay healthy while Vayne is getting sustained, because as long as you're staying healthy and Vayne is getting sustained, eventually Nami runs out of mana and can't sustain anymore. And then once that happens, you can just bully them really hard, right? Because now they don't have any fight potential with Nami. And now again, you can again go for a slow push at this point, where you can, once you have the minion advantage, you can just position yourself aggressively, right? Where these two are now stuck back here, you collapse it again, you get vision, and now because they're still out of mana on their tower, you're bullying them under the tower, right? Same scenario. And then if you get strong enough, once you have your lead, when you back and you get your BF sword and Vayne goes back and gets, maybe, I don't know, let's say she's building Bork first, she gets her Vamp Scepter, so she gets a little more sustain, but you get more damage. Now, again, we can push the wave in, force it to come back for a slow push into you, catch it down here, and now we can just pressure them like this, right? And their waves, the waves like right here, right? And now we can try to freeze it on them, because now if they try to walk up, we're so strong that their sustain doesn't matter. We just win because we all in them. Karma mantra Qs them, we auto Q them. They just lose the trade because we just have more damage, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that just think about that stuff and play the matchups. And obviously, YouTube, Korean solo queue VODs are lifesavers, dude. I'm telling you, man. Because the best thing about it, about most of them, is they take good games, not just pub stomp games, and a lot of the time you'll see Koreans in high elo Korean solo queue, they play every matchup pretty fucking ideally. Like it goes the way that you would watch it, and they play the lane properly to the point that neither side potentially gets stomped hard enough, or one side is playing well and then they just punish a mistake, right? Which is what you want to be looking for. So then at that point, it's identifying what did they do, what mistake did they punish, and how did they get to that point, right? And just trying to identify that stuff with yourself. I mean, if you want, in a future session, we could even watch like a Korean solo queue VOD and break it down. I'll ask you questions about it, and you can just like I'll see what you think about it, and then we can see like the actual what I would think about it compared to how you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like in that case, it'd be like when level 1 when I came up here and I was like, hey, I paused it right here and was like, okay, what are you trying to do here when you see this matchup, right? What are you trying to do here? It'd be the same thing. Just ask you, what do you think they're going to try to do in the matchup versus what happens in the matchup, right? And that's matchup specific, but I mean, you get the gist of it. Most lanes, like if this is Caitlyn Thresh, Caitlyn Blitzcrank, Caitlyn Alistair, it's pretty much the exact same, right? The only thing that would change then is their variables, or if we're a different AD carry. But like having a Nautilus support, you play it pretty much the same as if you had a Thresh or a Blitzcrank or an Alistair, right? So those are pretty interchangeable, and then you can just think about these the same way. Not like, I mean, every AD, you just from experience in AD carry role and how you play the champions and how you expect people to play the champions, you can kind of just get an understanding or try to of what you should be looking to do versus what they're going to be looking to do, and how to like kind of try to stop them from what they want to do, right? So in this case, they want to hit level 2 because once they hit level 2, they can just bully you with their double range matchup, and now you're stuck. So, and then ideally for them is, so what happens is once they get the level advantage, they can just play right here or let it slow push in, and then eventually it collapses back. And now since you're level 2 or level 3, they just let it slow push back to them. And since it's slow pushing, they know that they won't miss much, so Vayne would just back up. Doesn't care that she misses 1 or 2 minions. She just stays in XP range, doesn't get the gold for it. Eventually, it's bound to hit her tower, which is good for her because she goes, oh, I can just CS on her tower. You have a Nautilus. You're not going to get much tower damage on us anyways if we're high on HP because obviously we have 2 range. And then while it's slow pushing back to you, if it's slow pushing back to you, you can't do anything to them, right? They're defending. They're like right here, if you were level 2 and they were level 2 even, like at this point, you can't do anything, right? Like, there's too much. They have 6 CS. How are you guys going to fight that? You don't, right? So that's why for them, ideally, they're just going to let waves constantly go back and forth of slow pushing. Because every time it's slow pushing, when it's slow pushing to them, they don't have to fight you guys. They don't have to contest the wave. And then as soon as it's slow pushing towards you guys, again, you guys now can't engage on them. So they are safe to farm, to tower, and then it just bounces back to them, right? And then obviously, though, every time it bounces to here, they have the opportunity to go roam up, or every time it bounces to you guys have that opportunity. But they can also use that knowledge of wanting it to slow push to you to call for their jungler to like loop around here, which is just potentially dangerous for you, which is what a good bottom lane and jungler would coordinate. Does that information help? Do you understand all that?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I think that's pretty much all to cover in this VOD. You have any more questions about this or anything? And I'll probably upload this VOD somewhere so you'll be able to rewatch it. Take it in.
Yeah, that's good.
No questions?
Yeah, I don't know. The main thing is like when you play like the reverse of this matchup, when you play like 2 range against someone that beats you a lane but you outrange them, like it feels like you should push, but then if you push, you basically let yourself open to a lane.
Well, that's what I was going for. Like that's what I was talking about when I said as the Vayne Nami.
So you just slow push.
Yeah,
And
if they have the slow push built up like that, then we know by basic wave manipulation, if they just don't hit the next wave, it'll slow push into them. And you might miss 1 CS in terms of gold or 2, but as long as you get the XP, you're fine. It's not a big deal to miss 1 or 2. It's better to miss 1 or 2 CS than to die.
So after like the first slow push, you want to actually sit under your turrets.
Are you talking about as Nami Vayne?
Yeah.
Yeah, so after that wave, I can just share again really quick actually. So like
the main thing that normally fucks me up is that I think I'm just supposed to push with them because I'm ranged.
right, but so here's the thing is yeah, they hit level 2 advantage and they were able to push you in, and they were able to get vision, right? And they could have even made something happen with their jungler at this point. Obviously, it's too early really for that to happen. But so now what's going to happen, even though you guys hit level 2, because this wave is already grouped up like this, right? And there's a single file line. These minions will all start hitting this melee minion before this wave's crash at all. So these minions are all going to attack random fucking minions like that, and these ones are all just going to gangbang this one minion and then this one and then the next one, right? And so that's why your wave will slow push them. So if these two know that, they can just because they're in a spot where they have a lot of the lane and you guys stayed healthy, they're kind of scared of you, right? You would be scared of this Nautilus if you were this Vayne Nami, right? You'd be afraid that he could walk up here, go for a hook, and then if that hook lands, you might die. So because we know that this would slow push, we can just play safe, play back, play in the pockets of the minions. As long as we have the minions, play in the pockets, last hit. As soon as we lose those melee minions, right? So as soon as Nautilus doesn't have a melee line pressuring him and he can just walk up to the casters behind him, right? That's when we would say, okay, our melee minions are dead. Nautilus is going to walk up, so we're just going to fucking walk back. And at that point, it might be, we have 5 minions, or they have 5 minions, you have 3, right? You have your casters, they have 2 melees and their casters, right? Let's ignore the cannon for this example, just for the sake. Or we could even include the cannon for the sake. They have 3 casters, this cannon, and 1 melee, and you have 3 casters, okay? And maybe this cannon's like half HP. Either way, this wave is going to push into you. So we don't care if we miss the gold for 1 or 2 minions here, because it's better than walking up trying to get 14 gold and dying for it, right? Who cares if we miss the gold? We're going to catch the XP, and then if we just let it, if we just don't touch it, we just sit in XP range. If Nautilus walks up, we walk back. If Nautilus goes too far up and there's 80 carries not with him, that's when we can kind of just hit him, trade with him, right? Or Nami can punish him, trade with him a little bit, and then we back up. But otherwise, it just comes into us, and then maybe the next wave will even catch right here, and then this wave will be even bigger, and then our wave will be even thinner, and then eventually it all comes to our turret where we can safely last hit, right? Because Nautilus isn't going to hit us under our tower at level 2 or level 3. If he does, he's just going to die, right? So that's when we're pretty safe to CS under our tower, and if their bottom lane wants to be up on our tower, again, we know we had the Elise start red side, she's going to level 3 gank, or we can just be like, hey, jungler, this is a potential gank setup. Otherwise, we're just stuck under tower now, and we let it slow push back to them this next wave. And if it because Nautilus can't really push under the tower with the Caitlyn, it's going to be in a state where it's going to get caught up right here, which is fine if it's stuck right here because, again, right, this actually happens in your game, which is ideal for them. See exactly what I said. It's going to slow push back to them. If Nautilus lands that hook, that might have been a little bit of damage for them, but they're not going to die in that case, right? They'll definitely take damage, but she probably wouldn't have died because they have the Nami heal. And honestly, even this, just for example's sake, look, do you see how Vayne's not going to miss any of your CS at this point? If she just doesn't hit these, there's no way any of these die, right? Yeah. You see that. So why does she need to be up here hitting this cannon? She fucking doesn't. She's trolling. So this, if Nautilus landed this would have been really good, but there was no need for their bottom lane to be here, right? Because if she doesn't hit this cannon, it's still at this much HP, and it's not going to die. It's just going to slow push in where she can catch it safely under her tower. And now, if you guys are under the tower, right, this is a dangerous spot for you guys because jungler. And yes, even though you do get as much vision as you can if you go up here and get vision, and it is kind of safe, there's still a threat that their jungler can come around here and come behind you, right? Like, sometimes it happens, and you do have to be aware of it. That's why pink ward's really nice, because then you can ward behind yourself. Generally, support will pink ward here. This is, again, as Caitlyn, Nautilus at this point, just to say how to be a little more safe. So when you guys are up here, you have a yellow ward up here, support has a pink here, you have a pink here, and now you're pretty much covered on all bases to the point where if you see them at any point, you can just back up before their bot lane can collapse on you, right? So now going back to being Vayne Nami, this wouldn't happen because we're back here because we're not going to miss the CS anyways. None of these CS die even with her trying to thin out the cannon wave. She's going to catch all this juicy CS under her tower, not miss anything. And then let's just pretend Elise doesn't gank here. I guess this is it. I gotta skip to another part. And then again, see, they get a slow push in. And then we're starting to slow push back. Wonder turret. And then do you see where this wave ends up being caught at because of the slow push? Yes, the slow push is good for you if we use the slow push and use the only pressure that we could get from this slow push that is brought about by the fact that they have a disadvantage in an all-in. They can't fight an all-in. So because of that, you're able to get a slow push to tower, which is beneficial for them if you don't abuse it. So we have to abuse it, get deep vision, potentially kill their jungler, stop her on scuttle, whatever we can do, right? Otherwise, and then regardless, it's going to catch right here, right? They are safe here. Even if Nautilus gets a hook, they are safe here. So what can you guys do in this case? If you don't have vision, the Caitlyn Nautilus can't really be up here because jungler/mid roam, right? So this is why a slow push, well, for them, constantly just letting slow pushes go back and forth will be fine. Because now at this point, if you guys decide to do the wrong decision, which we do, and we try to like just freeze this here, they don't care. Now we just freeze this for them. Now they're just going to CS freely right here, right? They're safe to CS right here. In this whole, if it's ever behind this part, like if the casters are ever behind here, their team's safe because Nautilus can't. Even if he hooks them, they're not going to die, right? They have a tower right there. Presumably, like sometimes a death will still happen. Great if Nautilus gets it, but like the fact of the matter is, if they're playing properly, they won't die right here, right? There's no way. And then even if you do thin this, again, now they just catch in our tower. You guys have the priority, which is what you have the advantage for in the early game, right? That's the point of an early game support like Nautilus, right? The whole point is the fact that you're going to have pressure early on, but we need to use the pressure by when we do get them shoved into the tower, we need to be using the pressure across the map, even just getting mid roams, getting vision deep, just doing something, right? Rather than just letting the wave be here and hitting them under tower because it's not going to do much for us, right? And then if you're Vayne Nami, you're just you're just okay with this because now we're just farming, right? She's safe here. You see what I mean? Like, it's good for you guys to slow push this in. At this point, we would shove this in, as we already talked about, right? But slow pushing until this point is good for you, so you can, hey, we aren't able to kill them, they're playing smart, but we now have a slow push built in the tower, which means that we can use our pressure around the map or do something in the river, right? Before the next wave crashes. Does that make sense? Does that help a bit in terms of reverse matchup?
Yeah.
Okay. So, any more questions?
I can't think of anything right now. I can maybe message you if
you can always message me if you get a question or something. I'll do my best to answer, but I hope this session was valuable for you, and I hope you learned a bit about some wave management. Because it's really easy to autopilot and stop thinking about it for even a second, but like you really do have to be constantly thinking about the waves, and like every minion is kind of important, you know. Like in pro matches, man, I know we're not pro level, but if we want to be master tier, like that is the difference, is that they do think about that all the time, right? And then the one time they don't think about it, you punish that mistake. You punish them not thinking about it by our own knowledge of wave manipulation and wave management.
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right. Well, if you don't have anything more to ask me, I think that's a good point to end the session on.
Okay. See you.
But yeah, you can always message me, ask me any questions you come up with. I'll be happy to answer. I'll do my best to get back to you in a timely manner. But other than that, dude, thank you for the session. I hope it was valuable, man. And are you fine if I post it on YouTube?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. I'll send you the link once I get that up. It'll probably be tomorrow. Good luck in your solo queue games, man. I hope you start thinking about the wave management more, and you can always come back to this video and learn about it. Really do. I do really advise you strongly to look at Korean solo queue VODs of, like, you know, even like the recent 3 patches are pretty valuable because the wave management never changes. Just champions might change in terms of strength. So you can learn a lot about that when you do.
I feel like
when you think about it.
like I watched them, I'm not sure why they're doing things. So
Right.
It's like kind of pointless. So,
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Well, if you are watching one and you come across them like that, just try to like message me, ask me, hey, why they do this, and then I can just give you a quick answer, or we can go in more detail if necessary. But all right, dude.
yeah, so like this Nautilus thing is like a good example, I think. Like before I'll be like, why the hell are you pushing with Nautilus support? Like this guy can't like, do anything under enemy turret,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, Nautilus can't do anything under the tower, but if he's in the river and he finds a jungler, if he can
Yeah.
get to the mid lane, he can do a lot. Or if you can, if
Yeah,
you
that's like
after you
the
get the vision,
example.
after
I
you
was
get the
just-
vision, or after you get the vision and their jungler's not bottom lane, now we can let them slow push into us. We can catch the wave on our side of the map, or our side of the lane, or half of the lane, whatever you want to say, and then potentially go for a kill pressure there, right? Or otherwise, we just want to pressure for the enemy jungler, force them to the bottom side, so we can just waste their time and give our top side a bit easier time. Because that is a bit of a problem with just freezing. Is if you do freeze bottom lane, yeah, you're denying the enemy bot lane, but if nothing's happening, their jungler can just be just destroying your top side, right? Because they don't care about bottom lane at that point. It's not gankable. Well, all right, dude. I think
Okay.
that's all for now. I'll be stalking your OP.GG a little bit. But
Okay.
other than that, dude, it was nice meeting you. I hope this was valuable for you again, and I will talk to you later, dude.
Okay. See ya.
See you, man.